And a city under siege is highlighting the regional impact of the ongoing crisis. The key town of Qusair, under rebel control for months, is now a battlefield. Rebels say Hezbollah fighters from neighbouring Lebanon are on the ground helping Syrian soldiers attack the city.
An airstrike on a rebel stronghold. This footage released on social media appears to show Syrian government forces fighting to take back control of the town of Qusair. And on the ground, Hezbollah militants from Lebanon are said to be helping President Assad, a sign that this conflict may now be spilling over the border.
People living there are calling it a massacre. A senior government official dismissed accusations that Damascus is obstructing aid destined for rebel-held areas.
We saw cases where those aid consignments ended up in the hands of armed groups. You know those details, and I don't want to talk too much about them. What we want is to cooperate together to ensure that aid reaches civilians who are in need of this help.
State-run television said rebels are using the area as a supply base. It said that the troops took control of the town, but an opposition fighter says his group caused heavy damage to the government's tank unit. US and Russian officials are trying to end the civil war by organizing talks between the two sides.
Qusair and the surrounding area are seen as an important piece in Syria's sectarian jigsaw. For the government, it would guarantee access from Damascus to the coast. Opposition sources say should President Assad fall in Damascus, Syria's coastal region could serve as an enclave for his Alawite sect, with the country fragmenting on sectarian lines. Qusair is also important for the rebels for its access to Lebanon. The UN in Syria has called on the government for better protection for United Nations staff when they try to bring humanitarian aid to areas controlled by rebels.
The delivery of medical supplies to opposition-held areas remains unresolved. This is a protection issue and one of utmost importance.
The Syrian government is wary, arguing aid consignments have ended up in the hands of armed groups rather than civilians. The UN says the number of refugees is swelling by 10,000 a day and is set to double to 3 million by the end of the year.
The Israeli Defense Force has already carried out airstrikes on weapons depots in Syria. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has indicated he's prepared to take action again to prevent the conflict spilling over the Israeli border. Israel is especially concerned about new weapons shipments from Russia to Syria. The government says those air defense missiles are likely to fall into the hands of Hezbollah.
The Israeli government is acting in a responsible, determined and measured manner to ensure the interest of the State of Israel and the security of its citizens. Our policy is to prevent as much as possible the leakage of advanced weapons to Hezbollah and terror organizations. We will act to ensure the safety of Israeli citizens.